Last night, I saw an incredible movie, and I'm going to tell you guys all about it. It is Sicario, Day of Soldado, and it is the sequel to Sicario, which Denis Villeneuve directed a couple of years ago. It starred Benicio del Toro, Josh Brolin, and Emily Blunt. And Emily Blunt is no longer in this new movie. It really kind of carries on the story and the relationship between Josh Brolin and Benicio del Toro's character. And man, was I blown away by this flick. I was a little bit nervous going into it that Denis Villeneuve was not attached to direct this time. Stefano Salermo is the new director, and I don't think he's done too much stuff before that we can point to and go, oh, this guy's going to be the perfect person to carry the reins from Denis Villeneuve. And I would say that in terms of a visual statement, because they have a different DOP this time as well, it's not the same cinematographer that put all of the shots together. If you guys remember Sicario, not only was it a riveting movie and an incredibly tense, scary film, but it also looked incredible as well. And that was the partnership between, I think it was Roger Deakins and Denis Villeneuve. And I think they worked again on Blade Runner. I'm not entirely sure, but they aren't the visual pairing, and so we don't get the exact visual statement with Sicario 2. But what we do get, I mean, we do get a lot of great crane shots and chopper shots, and of course, it's a military thriller where Josh Brolin's character works for the government, but he does some really shady things, and he's asked to kind of go into Mexico and start some really awful stuff. And I'm going to try to avoid any of the spoilers in here. One of the people that he always leans on, as he leaned on in Sicario 1, is Benicio del Toro's Sicario character, and he's ruthless and has been pushed to the brink and is ready to do anything, and he holds some grudges against cartel kingpins in Mexico, and so he takes the mission and he goes into Mexico with Josh Brolin and the team that he puts together, and they do the thing that they're supposed to do, but of course not everything works out exactly as planned, and there's a lot of government sort of wiping their hands clean and trying to sort of get away from the mess that these guys have created for themselves and potentially for the world. And then we kind of see how these characters are left to their own devices and how they're going to, survive through all of this. And interwoven through this plot line is also this Texas kid who is becoming a bit of a gang guy himself, and sort of attracted to the idea of making lots of money bringing people across the border illegally. So the secret sauce in this movie is that Taylor Sheridan once again writes the script. He wrote the script for the first Sicario. He wrote the script for Wind River, and he also did that Jeff Bridges movie, Hell or High Water, which was incredible with Chris Pine as well. And this guy, he's an amazing writer. He really understands how to write fantastic character beats, but also to make things topical and personal and incredibly tense. And so this kid who is attracted to, doing these illegal things to make all of this money gets pretty good at bringing people across the border, and we sort of are following along with his path. And then, of course, like in any good potboiler, any good thriller, there's some intersection, and that comes a little bit later on in the movie, and it's incredibly tense. But I'll tell you, I sat there in awe of the storytelling that everybody collaborated on to build for us. It's just an amazing ride, this movie. But I felt really tense. I felt awful for the picture of the world that we were seeing there. It just looked like it was just hell on earth for almost every character. They just have to do so many awful things to kind of get by or to do right by their country or whatever. But just it definitely puts you in a state, this state of unease. It's so far removed from, sort of like waiting for your next video game and sitting down and looking through Amazon for what action figure you're going to download or whatever. The stakes are so high, and there's so much brutality, and it's an incredibly violent movie, but it also feels grounded and it feels realistic, and I think that's why it's so effective and so terrifying. But I started the movie in this kind of tense state because it sets it up quite well. There's some terrorist attacks that happen at the beginning of the movie that sort of set everything off. And you're just, at least I was, just on the edge of my seat for the entire thing. And then the ending escalates in some ways that you just will not believe. So, long story short, without spoiling, I tried not to spoil anything because you want to be as surprised as possible. The biggest surprise is that this is a bang-up sequel to an excellent thriller. Sicario is an amazing movie that if you have not seen, you need to go and see that one. But you see that film and you go, we don't need any more. But Taylor Sheridan and the team around him built something that absolutely works in the universe. And potentially there could be more if we all go out and support this movie. And I think you should. Sicario, Day of Soldado is amazing. I'm giving it a 9 out of 10.